I can see an introduction to the hidden conditions of martial arts. Ling Feng travels through different worlds and gains the ability to see the hidden conditions of martial arts. As long as these hidden conditions are met, he can ignore the limitations of qualifications, roots, and understanding, and master them. Phantom Asking Immortal Sword Technique, Entry Requirements. Concentrate, focus on the sword, wield the sword 100,000 times, white clouds without a trace, entry requirements. Traveling 100 miles a day, supplemented by the secret medicine for strengthening muscles and bones, for many years, Ling Feng has mastered countless powerful martial arts, reached the pinnacle of martial arts, swept the world, immortals descended from the sky to clean up the world, and monsters emerged underground to slaughter the world. Ling Feng punched out, the immortal died, the demon beast died. Chapter 1. Swords 100,000 times. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Dazhou, Qingzhou. Within Qingzhou, there is a county called Baiyun County, and within Baiyun County, there is also a mountain called Baiyun Mountain, on which there is a sect called Baiyun Sect. There is a young man in the sect whose name is not Baiyun. His name is Ling Feng. It is said that his parents hope that he can surpass the peak in the future, become a strong person who can climb the summit and see through the mountains, so they gave him this name. But unfortunately Ling Feng has the perseverance required to become a strong person. But they lack the qualifications to become strong. After more than 2 years of joining the Baiyun sect, Ling Feng is not even a 9th grade martial artist, while most of the disciples who entered the same period with him are already 6th and 5th grade martial artists. On the mountaintop, Ling Feng held a standard long sword from a disciple of the Baiyun sect in his left hand and the hilt in his right hand, focusing his attention. He then drew his long sword and swung it towards the mountain peak ahead. The mountain is still that mountain. Ling Feng calmly withdrew his sword from its scabbard, then continued to draw his sword and cut it forward, pulling it out, returning it, pulling it out, returning it. He is mechanical and keeps repeating this action. Not far away, someone passed by and saw Ling Feng constantly wielding his sword. He couldn't help but sneer and start discussing without any hesitation. How long has this fool been practicing swordsmanship? Why are they still drawing and wielding swords here? I really admire him a bit. He keeps doing something day after day, repeating it for 2 years. This is not something that ordinary people can do. If he had applied this perseverance elsewhere, perhaps he would have lived a much less nourishing life than he does now. Practicing martial arts and swordsmanship. He doesn't have this talent at all. These discussions naturally fell into Ling Feng's ears. But he turned a deaf ear and still maintained the rhythm of drawing his sword back. Whether it's hot and cold winter, or windy and rainy, he has been persisting. I don't know how long it took until he was hungry in his stomach. Ling Feng then covered his groaning stomach, withdrew his long sword, and went down the mountain to the cafeteria to eat. On the way down the mountain, he passed by a stone tablet. On the stone tablet, there are mysterious patterns one after another. This is the most famous attraction of Baiyun sect, the Immortal Monument. It is said that on this immortal stele, there is a record of a peerless sword technique left by the ancestor of Baiyun sect. If one can successfully cultivate it, they will become a sword immortal in the future. But hundreds of years have passed since the passing of the White Cloud Patriarch. This immortal monument has been placed at the foot of Baiyun sect mountain for hundreds of years, and countless visitors have visited its patterns. However, it has never been discovered by anyone, even if one comprehends any mysteries from it. Over time, the immortal monument has become a legend. No one expects to comprehend any unparalleled divine skill from it. Many people have become famous, adding some popularity to the Baiyun sect. Just as Ling Feng passed by the immortal monument and looked at it, a prompt that only he could see appeared on the immortal monument. Phantom Asking Immortal Sword Technique, Level. Tianpin, Entry Requirements. Concentrate, focus on the sword, wield the sword 100,000 times. This prompt is the reason why Ling Feng swings his sword every day. More than 2 years ago, he traveled to this world and became an outsider disciple of the Bai-Yin sect. Like most travelers with golden fingers, Ling Feng also had his own golden finger. He can see the hidden cultivation conditions of martial arts. As long as he meets these conditions, he can naturally master these martial arts. On the day he arrived at Bai-Yin sect, he discovered that this immortal monument, as rumored, contained a top-notch martial arts. Martial arts are divided into lower grade, middle grade, upper grade, mystical grade, earthly grade, and heavenly grade. In Bai-Yin sect, a top-notch martial art is already rare. Xianpin martial arts is something that only core disciples have the opportunity to come into contact with, and as for earthly and heavenly treasures, they are even more rumored in the Zhou dynasty. As for whether there are any martial arts above Tianpin, Ling Feng is currently unknown. In short, upon arriving at the Bai-Yin sect and discovering this top-notch martial arts, Ling Feng began his daily sword-wielding practice that was incomprehensible to ordinary people. Mastering one top-notch martial arts is better than 1,000 top-notch ones. More than 2 years have passed, and the goal of wielding the sword 100,000 times is not far away, Ling Feng thought to himself. It's not difficult to swing the sword 100,000 times. A few hundred times a day, it can be completed in just a few months. However, the prerequisite for wielding a sword 100,000 times is to concentrate and focus solely on the sword, rather than simply wielding it. Therefore, Ling Feng only spent more than 2 years, but according to his estimation, achieving this goal will only take these 2 months. Arriving at the cafeteria, Ling Feng picked up a plate and casually ordered a few dishes, while the aunt who served him dishes looked indifferent. To give someone a full spoonful, but to give them less than half. It can be seen that he is not very popular in the Bai-Yin sect. TSK, how could this guy still have the face to come and eat? He has been with Bai-Yin sect for over 2 years and only knows how to wield a sword on the mountaintop every day, not even a 9th grade. The Bai-Yin sect raised him, it's like raising a waste. There are whispers around. But Ling Feng ignored these rumors, as long as they did not cause any substantial harm to him, he would not pay too much attention. Holding the plate, he found a seat to sit down and ate on his own. After finishing, he still needs to continue swinging his sword. At this point, a man slowly walked up to him and said, "Ling Feng, should we both join the Bai-Yin sect at the same time? But now, I am already a 7th grade martial artist, but you are not even a 9th grade. How can you feel embarrassed to continue staying in the Bai-Yin sect?" The man had an obvious look of contempt on his face, and everyone around him looked like they were watching the show. Ling Feng looked up at the other person and then lowered his head to continue eating. When the man refused to give up and wanted to say something, a plate had already hit his head. Who? The man angrily looked behind him, looking for the Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. However, when he saw the approaching person, his face couldn't help but change slightly. "Bai, senior brother Bai." The visitor was dressed in a white robe with golden edges and auspicious clouds as the base, wearing a purple gold hollow crown on his head, and a jade pendant hanging from his waist, exuding an extraordinary elegance. Bai Chuchen is one of the core disciples of the Bai-Yin sect. Known as the most talented person in the past decade of the Bai-Yin sect, he joined the sect at the same time as Ling Feng, but now he is a 4th grade martial artist. Although not as good as the other core disciples, but he has only been practicing for over 2 years. And the other core disciples have the shortest cultivation time of 10 years. The most surprising thing is that this core disciple, who is known as the most talented of the Bai-Yin sect, does not show any false colors to anyone, but instead shows great care for Ling Feng. In the past 2 years, without the care of AI Bai Chuchen, Ling Feng would probably have been expelled from the Bai-Yin sect by now. Get lost. Bai Chuchen coldly glanced at the man who was picking trouble. The other party quickly nodded and bowed, yes, I'm leaving now. After driving away the troublemaker, Bai Chuchen sat in front of Ling Feng and smiled, "Feng, I haven't seen you for half a month. Do you miss me? If you were a beautiful woman, I might still miss you. Ling Feng rolled his eyes and said. I haven't seen you for so long, you're still so cold. Bai Chuchen pursed his lips. What have you gained from being in seclusion for half a month? Ling Feng casually asked. Hey, I'm only one step away from 3rd grade now. Bai Chuchen chuckled and a hint of pride appeared between his eyebrows. Ling Feng was also a bit surprised. After less than 3 years of cultivation, he went from an ordinary person to a master approaching the 3rd grade. Bai Chuchen's talent is indeed remarkable. Chapter 2. 1. Entering the Innate. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bai Chuchen and Ling Feng are from the same village, and they grew up together since childhood, so Bai Chuchen takes extra care of Ling Feng. Although Ling Feng didn't say it on his lips, he still remembered it in his heart. Bai Chuchen is his only friend in Baiyin sect. If you become a 3rd grade martial artist, then you truly have the strength to be on par with the other core disciples. Congratulations. Ling Feng looked at Bai Chuchen and sincerely congratulated him. What is 3rd grade? My goal is innate. Even the Supreme Master. Bai Chuchen's eyes showed a hint of longing. The martial arts of the Great Zhou dynasty are divided into acquired, innate, and great masters. Among them, the 9th grade is acquired. As long as ordinary people are willing to work hard, they may enter the realm of 9th grade. With a little talent, becoming a 2nd grade and 1st grade is not impossible. But being born above the 1st grade, Grandmaster, is not so easy to achieve. Opportunity, intelligence, talent one cannot be missing. In the Baiyin sect, the current sect leader is only in the realm of 1st grade, and there is still one step away from being born. It took 10 years for him to take this step and he was unable to step out. It is evident how difficult it is to achieve this innate realm. However, Bai Chuchen has exceptional talent, perhaps he can truly become innate in the future. Oh, I wish you success here. Ling Feng smiled slightly. Don't worry, if I become innate in the future, I will definitely cover you up. Bai Chuchen patted her chest and smiled. The next day, Ling Feng continued to wield his sword on the mountaintop as usual. Day after day, never stopping. In a blink of time, another month has passed, and during this month, many things have also happened within the Baiyin sect. For example, Bai Chuchen, who had just left the level, had a conflict with a core disciple of the Baiyin sect, and the two sides engaged in a battle, attracting the attention of the entire sect. That day, after practicing swordsmanship, Ling Feng also went to watch the battle. Bai Chuchen showcased his divine power on the arena, using 4th grade martial artists to battle 3rd grade martial artists without falling behind, and even breaking through during the battle to become 3rd grade. Defeat the core disciple in one fell swoop. At this point, Bai Chuchen's popularity within the Baiyin sect is unparalleled, and his prestige is as high as the sun. Although he has been in the school for less than 3 years, he can already be compared to the core disciples who have been in the school for more than 10 years. Coupled with his exceptional talent, he is even more highly regarded. Many people regard him as a future star of the Baiyin sect and even the Zhou dynasty. Dark clouds gather in the sky, with continuous rain and shadows. On the mountaintop, Ling Feng remained as before, even in cloudy and rainy weather. He did not stop him from holding his sword and continuing his sword training on the mountain. On the way, a figure dressed in white arrived, and it was his only friend within the Baiyin sect, Bai Chuchen. Looking at Ling Feng practicing swordsmanship, Bai Chuchen exclaimed in amazement, "Feng, you said you've been practicing this sword for almost 3 years, why hasn't there been any movement?" Almost. Ling Feng smiled faintly and said that recently, he can clearly feel that his sword swinging speed is becoming more and more proficient, faster and faster. I don't know where you learned this unconventional technique. Just wielding your sword like this, can you really become a peerless master? Bai Chuchen frowned, puzzled by Ling Feng's behavior. Instead of worrying about me, it's better to think about yourself. In the battle a month ago, although you defeated Zhou Zhen, the other party clearly held a grudge. His brother is the chief disciple of the Baiyun sect, and his cultivation was close to second level a year ago. It is said that he passed the level yesterday and may have reached second level. Are you not afraid of him targeting you? Ling Feng said, with a hint of hidden concern in his eyes. Chief disciple. Zhou Yun, I really want to wait for a while. Bai Chuchen's face not only showed no fear, but also showed an eager desire to try. Ling Feng shook his head and knew that Bai Chuchen had been too spirited recently. He might have been a bit off guard. The opponent had just broken through the third level, but Zhou Yun was likely a second-level martial artist. If he were to match, Bai Chuchen would likely lose. The last time the opponent broke through the third rank in battle was because he was already very close to the third rank, but even so, that battle was still dangerous. Similar opportunities are not always present. Early morning, it's easy to get lost in hard times. Your sharpness is too exposed now, which is not a good thing. In my opinion, you should be more low-key in your recent actions. Ling Feng didn't want to see his only friend get into trouble, so he reminded him. Bai Chuchen waved his hand and said, I know. Ling Feng sighed helplessly in his heart. From the other person's expression, he could tell that they did not take his words seriously. In fact, although Bai Chuchen has taken good care of herself in the past 2 years, she has never been able to become a warrior, while the other party has made rapid progress in martial arts. Now it's even more of a third-grade realm. It is normal for the other party to not take it seriously as a reminder to oneself as an ordinary person. Unconsciously, they actually have a generation gap. Bai Chuchen continued to watch Ling Feng practice swordsmanship on the mountaintop for a while, then yawned and left with a lack of interest. Ling Feng glanced at the other person's departing figure and ignored it. He practiced swordsmanship on his own, drew swords continuously repeating. Until the dark clouds in the sky became thicker and the rain grew heavier. The heavy rain poured down, and the sky and earth were shrouded in a mist of water. With just 2 breaths, Ling Feng was soaked all over, but he seemed to have no sensation, holding his sword and still constantly waving it. Gradually, his mind sank into an ethereal realm. His sword swung faster and faster, and its strength grew stronger and stronger, until it suddenly surged into his body with a powerful internal force. This internal force began to erode his unique 8 meridians, and the originally blocked meridians were continuously expanded under the powerful impact of the internal force. The first meridian has been opened, and he has advanced to the 9th level of martial arts. The second meridian has been opened, and he has advanced to the 8th level of martial arts. The third meridian, the fourth meridian. In just 10 short breaths, Ling Feng's 8 meridians were connected in his body, and his internal energy flowed continuously, entering the first level of martial arts in one fell swoop. But this is not over yet. The 8 meridians are connected, and the speed of internal energy circulation is getting faster and faster. In a faint sense, a certain part of Ling Feng's body resonates with the internal energy and vibrates crazily. Above the first grade, the bottleneck of the innate realm of zhaoshuyuan.com began to loosen in this vibration. Boom! A thunderbolt exploded, shining brightly on the sky and earth. Ling Feng's body also burst out with a loud roar, which seemed to tear apart the chaos of a thunderbolt, opening up a new world in his body. The powerful internal force in the body flows into this new world and begins to transform into a more solid force than the internal force congenital true qi. Open up the inner world and enter the innate realm. Ling Feng swung his sword, just like the sword that had been repeated over the past 2 years. But this time, the sword was entwined with sword energy, emitting an explosive sound, and suddenly tearing open 100 zhang rain curtain, forming a brief vacuum around him. Swinging the sword 100,000 times, entering the innate world at once. Ling Feng's chest was filled with excitement, and he couldn't help but want to howl out loud. Ding! The Phantom Asking Immortal Sword Technique Beginner Level Successful, a personal attribute panel suddenly appeared in Ling Feng's field of vision. Ling Feng, Cultivation. Congenital, Martial Arts. Phantom Asking Immortal Sword Technique, Beginner Level. The next step for success requires meeting the following conditions. Concentrate, focus on the sword, wield the sword millions of times, Ling Feng muttered to himself. He had to swing his sword 100,000 times to get started, which took him nearly 3 years. And Chuchen needs to swing his sword 1,000,000 times. How long will it take? Although I have the experience of wielding swords 100,000 times, it still takes at least 10 years of effort, right? This ethereal question of the immortal sword technique is really difficult. No wonder no one has been able to comprehend for so many years. However, the difficulty lies in the difficulty. The terror of this martial art is also evident. Just getting started makes him leap into an innate realm. Chapter 3. The Book of Innocence and the Demon Record. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ling Feng suddenly entered the innate world, feeling a surge of pleasure in his chest. But he did not lose his sanity as a result, flaunting himself with great fanfare. For more than 2 consecutive years, he swung his sword without interruption, which had already polished his mind to a calm state. Even if he became innate, he could quickly regain his composure. The innate realm, although powerful, I have just entered the innate realm. In the innate realm, there must be many people who are stronger than me, not to mention, there are masters above the innate realm. I am still far from being complacent. Ling Feng murmured softly. Then he held the sword in his hand and continued to swing it on the mountaintop. Once, twice, 3 times draw the sword, swing the sword, return the sword. Repetitive actions add a charm that was not present before. As if this sword could tear apart mountains and rivers. After more than an hour, Ling Feng swung his sword more than 1,000 times. Its efficiency is much faster than before. Sure enough, my cultivation has been improved to the next day, and my physical fitness has been comprehensively strengthened. Unlike before, when I swing my sword for less than half an hour, my arms become sore and numb, and I need to rest. With this efficiency, I can achieve the goal of waving my sword 1,000,000 times in no more than 10 or even 5 years. Ling Feng was extremely satisfied in his heart. Taking back his sword, he returned to the small house he had built on the mountaintop, washed himself thoroughly, and put on a new clean outfit. The next day, Ling Feng continued to wield his sword for an hour, then put it away. He didn't continue practicing, not because he was tired, but because he planned to go to the library. In martial arts, he is just a rookie. I only know that the day after tomorrow is divided into 9 levels, and it is necessary to expand the meridians in the body. But in terms of innate realm, he has only a partial understanding of the mysteries. Having advanced to innate realm, he plans to go to the library to learn more. The Baiyin sect library is located on the top of a mountain, and it used to take at least 2 hours to climb the Ling Feng peak. Plus going down the mountain, it would take at least 3 or 4 hours. So he rarely comes. However, now he has advanced to Xiantian, walking like the wind, and the 2-hour journey has shortened him to half an hour. Arriving at the mountaintop and looking at the black pavilion in front of him, Ling Feng smiled and walked in, bowing to the old guard. Then he began to search for the books he wanted. The collection of books in the library pavilion covers a wide range of topics, from astronomy, geography, local customs, historical events of the Zhou dynasty, and more. Among them, there is also the secret of martial arts. Quickly, Ling Feng found the record he wanted about his innate nature. The title of the book is called The Book of Innocence. This records not only what is innate, but also the deeds of some innate masters of the Zhou, especially the latter, which can be found in hundreds of pages. Martial arts are divided into postnatal and innate. The 9th grade of the day after tomorrow is to expand the internal meridians, transport qi and blood, and generate internal strength. The 8 meridians are interconnected, making it the 2nd grade. The internal strength operates in the 8 meridians, constantly generating and forming the Zhou Tian, which is also the first grade. After all the 8 meridians are connected, the heaven and earth inside the body are opened up, and internal energy rushes into it, transforming into true qi. In this way, innate true qi is more than 10 times stronger than internal strength, so the innate martial arts are far above the acquired level. In front of the innate level, even if it is the first level acquired, it is not easily defeated. But innate, there is also a distinction between strength and weakness. Those who open up the inner heaven and earth, but first enter innate, and then the true qi gradually fills the inner heaven and earth, transforming into liquid, are the innate great achievements. However, above the great achievements, there is still a realm called Baodan. The true qi condenses into a pill, and the pill qi operates. Its power can open mountains and crack the sea. Ling Feng looked at the records in the congenital register, with a strange expression in his eyes, full of interest. Opening up the world, transforming true qi into liquid, and condensing true qi into pills. Are these the 3 stages in the innate realm? It seems that I still have a long way to go. He continued to flip through the classics in his hand and saw some records of innate experts. Qing Jinnan, who was born 300 years ago, was one of the earliest innate experts at the beginning of the founding of the Great Zhou dynasty. He once assisted the founding emperor of the Great Zhou dynasty in fighting on the battlefield, with 1 person and 1 gun taking the head of a general from 1,000,000 soldiers like a bag out of a bag. Wang Juanhua, also known as the Fire Palm, practiced the Xianpin martial arts flame palm. With both hands, he could burn the river and boil the sea. He once alone quelled the 20.4 bandits in the northern part of the Great Zhou dynasty. The White Sword Star, the king of the sword, has been fighting for more than 30 years. His swordsmanship has reached a new level. He once used a sword to open the mountain, cut the river, crossed the Taihu Lake, cut off the Taihu Lake dragons, and dyed half the lake with blood. Looking at these records about innate nature, Ling Feng couldn't help but be fascinated. Burning the river and boiling the sea. The sword crossed the Taihu Lake. Innate master, yet so amazing. What kind of demeanor is that master? Ling Feng had some expectations, believing that if his ethereal Asking Immortal Sword Technique could reach its peak, it was very likely to reach the realm of a master. There seemed to be only 2 great masters on the surface of the Great Zhou dynasty. One is Li Qinyuan, the leader of the current Wulin League and a martial arts expert. The other is the current national teacher of the imperial court and the self-proclaimed Wuka Tongtian Daoist. Besides these 2 people, there are no other masters, and it's also possible that they are just hiding under the table. Ling Feng thought for a moment, then closed the congenital book and put it back in its original position. But then, another book on the bookshelf caught his attention. The Zhou demon record. Ling Feng's heart moved. How could there be demons in this world? He curiously picked up the book, opened it, and saw not only the text, but also a large number of mysterious and demonic patterns. All things have spirits, and although humans are the primates of all things, they are not without natural enemies. Demons are a threat to human survival. The devil is a beast in the mountains, and plants breed intelligence, and it can swallow the essence of the sun and the moon. It can also swallow people's essence, blood and flesh. Go to www.zhaoshuyuan.com to strengthen itself. The demon is mysterious and ever-changing, with various forms and intangible qualities. In the 18th year of the Great Zhou dynasty, a snake demon appeared in Yanyan city in the north, devouring hundreds of people before leaving. During this period, more than 10 first-class warriors attacked it, but it was difficult to break through its scales and armor. In the 91st year of the Great Zhou dynasty, in the southern Tianlong county, there was a demon sword that appeared. Ordinary people holding the demon sword had infinite power, but it would become an ignorant killing tool. The court mobilized several innate warriors to retrieve the demon sword. In the 171st year of the Great Week, demon dragons made waves in the Taihu Lake, harming ships passing by. The whole the Taihu Lake was dominated by demon dragons. In the 184th year of the Great Zhou dynasty, someone discovered signs of snow demon on the Snow Dragon Mountain. The court sent thousands of people to search for them, but there was no news of them. Ling Feng looked at the demon record in his hand with relish. I just feel that this world is really vast. In addition to warriors, there are many amazing or frightening demons that exist. He increasingly felt that this small innate realm was not worth being proud of. Closing the demon record, Ling Feng glanced at the sky outside the library and saw that it was already sunset, with golden afterglow scattered throughout the earth. Ling Feng stood up and bowed to the old man guarding the library before leaving. The next day, Ling Feng woke up early in the morning and continued to wield his sword to practice the ethereal question of the Immortal Sword Technique. After advancing, his days did not change much. Just like in the past. But now he has one more thing besides wielding his sword. That's to go to the library to read. This world is too vast, and Ling Feng has developed a great interest in it. To understand this world, first start by reading 10,000 books. Chapter 4. By Chuchen is Abolished. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the mountaintop. Ling Feng held a long sword in his hand and swung it out. Then he drew his sword and stood there, concentrating his energy, and swung out another sword. Since entering the innate realm, his efficiency in wielding swords has doubled, and now he can wield thousands of swords a day without fatigue. Of course, he didn't spend all his time practicing swordsmanship. He practiced swordsmanship for 4 hours a day and then spent 2 more hours reading at the library. This world is very vast. During this period, Ling Feng has read many books in the library, gained a lot of knowledge, and increasingly felt that the water in this world is very deep. A warrior who can break mountains and rivers, a mysterious and ever-changing demon, a peerless physician who is alive and dead, flesh and white bones, spiritual objects containing the creation of heaven and earth, the other countries outside of Dazhou, all of these fascinated Ling Feng. And he decided to wait until he had finished reading all the books in the Baiyun sect collection and reached a higher level of cultivation before going out for a walk. Reading 10,000 books requires traveling 10,000 miles. Go see with your own eyes the many magnificent things that exist in this world. Oh, still waving a sword here. At this moment, a light laugh came from behind Ling Feng. He turned around and frowned, realizing that the person coming was not by Chuchen, but rather a man in black. The other party had a sword hanging from their waist and a jade crown on their head. Looking at Ling Feng's face with a hint of playfulness, Ling Feng also knew the other party. One of the disciples of the Baiyun sect, Lin Yi. He is a disciple who joined the Baiyun sect at the same time as Ling Feng and Bai Chuchen. Although he is far behind Bai Chuchen, he is still a 6th grade martial artist. What are you doing here? Oh, you don't know yet, Bai Chuchen has already passed away. From now on, in this Baiyun sect, no one can protect you. Lin Yi smiled, with a hint of pleasure in his eyes. Everyone joined the Baiyun sect at the same time, but Bai Chuchen made great progress all the way, advancing from the outer gate to the inner gate and then to the core. He naturally felt jealous in his heart. But due to Bai Chuchen's strength, he never dared to show it. But now it's different. Bai Chuchen has been deposed, and he no longer needs to hide himself. Ling Feng furrowed his brow even deeper. Chuchen was deposed. It's impossible. He's the most talented person in the Baiyun sect in the past decade. Who dares to depose him? What if he has the most outstanding talent? He has a sharp edge and dares to duel with the chief senior brother, but unfortunately, he is not an opponent. He was picked out and broke his wrist, and now he can't even hold his sword. Like you, he is already a waste. Ling Feng was lost in thought. He knew that Bai Chuchen had been showing too much sharpness recently, but he didn't expect the other party to be deposed. He was the most talented martial artist in the Baiyun sect in the past decade. Even though he acted too arrogantly, he didn't do anything that would harm the heavens or reason. It's too harsh to be picked out and have my wrist broken. Is it true that the high-level officials of Baiyun sect are willing to sacrifice a genius like this? Ling Feng put away his sword and planned to go see Bai Chuchen's situation, while Lin Yi beside him was completely ignored by him as heir. Ling Feng, now that Bai Chuchen has been deposed, no one can protect you. Can you still stay in Baiyun sect, this useless person? Lin Yi said coldly. He has no grudge against Ling Feng. It's just pure jealousy towards Bai Chuchen, and coincidentally, Ling Feng is Bai Chuchen's best friend, and he even hates him. Ling Feng ignored the other party and continued to move forward. Lin Yi's eyes suddenly flashed a hint of coldness, and then he took a step forward, his body like an arrow departing from a string, and suddenly rushed towards Ling Feng. Spread your 5 fingers and fiercely grab the other person's shoulder. But just as his fingers landed on the other person's shoulder, he felt like he was grabbing a piece of refined iron, making it difficult to damage it at all. Not only that, Ling Feng's body trembled slightly, and a huge recoil erupted from his shoulder, shattering Lin Yi's 5 fingers. Ah! Lin Yi let out a scream and staggered back several steps. And his 5 fingers, twisted and deformed, were bleeding profusely, and even his finger bones were pricked with flesh, which was very frightening. How could it be? As Lin Yi watched Ling Feng leave as if nothing had happened, a sense of fear appeared in his eyes, and he dared not take action again. So he's not a waste. He's the one who hides the deepest. On a small mountain not far from Ling Feng's residence, there is a courtyard, living by the water, with a peaceful environment. This is exactly where Bai Chuchen resides. When Ling Feng arrived, a man in white happened to walk out of the yard. Ling Feng saw the other person and bowed slightly. I've seen the sect leader. The opponent is Wang Yangshu, the leader of the Baiyun sect and a first-class martial artist. Are you Ling Feng? Wang Yangshu looked at Ling Feng for a moment, then remembered him and sighed. I heard you were still practicing swordsmanship day after day on the mountain. Yes. You have a lot of perseverance, it's a pity. Wang Yangshu was also familiar with Ling Feng, not only because his deeds were widely circulated within the Baiyun sect, but also because he was a friend of Bai Chuchen. Master, how is Chuchen doing? Alas, when I was competing with Zhou Yun in the early morning, I happened to be at Qingxiu in the back mountain and not on site. I didn't expect such a big thing to happen. Wang Yangshu sighed. Is it really just a coincidence? Ling Feng said lightly. I know what you mean. I mean, Zhou Yun deliberately took advantage of my absence to take action against Chuchen, but the situation has come to an end and is irreparable. Please comfort Chuchen, Wang Yangshu said helplessly. What about Zhou Yun? What does the sect leader plan to do? I have already punished him with 1 year of imprisonment. Ling Feng fell silent for a moment. Abandoned by Chuchen, but only imprisoned for a year. He knew that Bai Chuchen was deposed and irreparable. He went to Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com, and Zhou Yun was the chief disciple of Baiyun sect, so it was impossible for him to be punished too severely. Otherwise, Baiyun sect will lose 2 geniuses at once. I know I'm a bit sorry for Chuchen for doing this, but as the sect leader, I have to consider the future of Baiyun sect. Wang Yangshu finished speaking and left. Ling Feng walked into the yard, pushed open the door, and saw Bai Chuchen lying in bed at this moment, with bandages tied to his hands and his eyes staring blankly at the ceiling. A severely damaged appearance. Ling Feng walked up to the other person and saw a bottle of ointment next to him. A burst of medicinal fragrance spread from it and he said, "Is this ointment useful?" "That is the intermittent ointment left by the sect leader, which can help me restore my meridians. It says that if I rest well, my daily activities will still be fine in the future." But it's impossible to use force, Bai Chuchen said with a mournful smile, take a good rest first, as for the rest, we'll talk later. I am already a useless person. Is there any future for me? If your heart is broken, then it is truly broken. What you hurt is only your wrist, at most you can't use your hands martial arts, you can't hold a sword, but you still have 2 feet. Your martial arts are vast and profound, and there is no lack of exquisite body and leg techniques in the Baiyin sect. With your talent, there is not a chance to make a comeback. Ling Feng said lightly. After listening to his words, a glimmer of light gradually appeared in Bai Chuchen's eyes. Not bad, I only injured my hand. I can also practice body and leg techniques, as long as I don't die, I will definitely be able to make a comeback. Bai Chuchen's eyes gradually became firm. Ling Feng smiled contentedly and said, I still remember what you said. You said you would become innate and become a master in the future. Yes, I won't give up. Chapter 5. Murder, White Clouds Without a Trace. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Bai Chuchen was deposed, and the chief senior brother Zhou Yun was punished and imprisoned for 1 year. This matter has caused a stir within the Baiyin sect. As a friend of Bai Chuchen, Ling Feng can naturally feel the changes in the Baiyin sect. Those who used to be good friends with Bai Chuchen are now moving away from him one by one. After he was deposed, no one except himself went to visit him. After this incident, Bai Chuchen became quite calm. Ling Feng felt that Bai Chuchen's abandonment this time was not without much gain. At least gain wisdom by eating a pit. On the mountain. Ling Feng had just finished practicing swordsmanship, had a brief wash, and then planned to visit Bai Chuchen, but 2 more figures appeared in front of him. One of them was Lin Yi, who had suffered from exhaustion in his hands a few days ago. And the other person is a tall and sturdy man. Ling Feng recognized the other party and was hailed as one of the inner disciples closest to the core disciple, named Wang Zhuang. It is said that he was also close to the core disciple Zhou Zhen. Wang Zhuang looked at Ling Feng and said calmly, I heard from Lin Yi that you're pretending to be a pig and eating tigers. That's why I came to take a look today. Oh, do you want to take action? Ling Feng calmly said. That's exactly what it means. Wang Zhuang took a step forward, although his body was sturdy, his speed was not slow at all. On the contrary, he was like a swimming dragon, swimming quickly around Ling Feng. Lin Yi on the side stared fixedly at Ling Feng. Senior brother Wang is one of the strongest disciples in the inner sect. His cultivation is close to the 4th level. I want to see how you can resist it. Since the last time he suffered from impotence at Ling Feng, he has been very unhappy. Bai Chuchen has been abandoned, and now another Ling Feng has emerged. Everyone joined the Baiyin sect at the same time, why should they be suppressed by you? Watching Wang Zhuang swiftly swimming in front of him, with his agile figure, Ling Feng took a step forward and stood on the opponent's path with unparalleled precision. Wang Zhuang's pupils slightly narrowed, and he didn't expect the other party to be able to see his body movements, but he immediately gave a fierce smile and clenched his 5 fingers into a fist. With a punch, the fist wind rushed towards Ling Feng. With this strike, the opponent hardly left any hand, as if they didn't care about Ling Feng's life or death. Upon seeing this, Ling Feng also swung a fist. At the moment of fist impact, there was a click, and Wang Zhuang's fist bone shattered. He felt a tremendous force rushing towards him and couldn't help but scream and fly backwards. Looking at his entire arm, it was already bloody and trembling uncontrollably. Is this kind of power at least 3rd grade? No, 2nd grade. Wang Zhuang swallowed his saliva. There aren't many 2nd-level martial artists in the entire Baiyin sect. People who can reach the 2nd level of martial arts can become elders in the Baiyin sect. Why is Ling Feng willing to stay outside and become an outside disciple? Wang Zhuang was deeply puzzled. But it didn't prevent him from looking at Ling Feng with fear in his eyes at the moment. Last time, I let you go, but this time, you're asking someone to trouble me again. This time, I can't justify letting you go again. Ling Feng said indifferently, and then his figure flashed at an extremely fast speed. In the blink of an eye, he approached Lin Yi with his right hand protruding like lightning, grabbed the other person's neck, and squeezed it hard with a click. Lin Yi's neck was directly crushed. Wang Zhuang's pupils shrank on the side, and he was horrified. Unexpectedly, Ling Feng didn't agree and started killing someone. Faced with such a ruthless person, he showed no signs of war and quickly rushed towards the foot of the mountain, holding onto his severed arm. Ling Feng suddenly drew his long sword from his waist and slashed forward. A sharp sword aura tore through the sky, and Wang Zhuang, who was 10 zhang ahead, felt half of his body cool and fell to the ground. When he lost consciousness, he saw half of his body in a daze. If people don't offend me, I won't offend. You can't blame me for asking for your own death. Ling Feng shook his head, and Lin Yi troubled him twice in a row. Wang Zhuang used a deadly move against him, both of which had a way to kill him. He is now innate. Even if the White Cloud Patriarch Wang Yangshu, he can ignore it. At this point, there is no reason to shrink back and dare not kill two people. He waved his sleeve and his true energy gushed out from between his sleeves. The bodies of the two were pushed by true qi and rolled off the cliff. Even if the bodies of these two people are found, it will probably take some time to investigate him. After all, he is just a waste in the public perception. How can a useless person kill two inner disciples? Inside by Chuchen's residence. Ling Feng slowly arrived, still carrying some peaches in his hand. This was picked in the peach forest on my way here. Ling Feng casually placed the peach on the table. Bai Chuchen smiled slightly and then put a classic book in his hand aside, saying, "Thank you for taking care of these days." Ling Feng glanced at the classic book and said, This is the main body technique secret script of my sect. This scripture cannot be practiced by non-core disciples, but if you want to see it, often, feel free to take it." Bai Chuchen didn't pay any attention and picked up the classics and handed them to Ling Feng. Ling Feng took it and saw 5 big characters on the cover. White clouds without a trace. Ling Feng's eyes showed a strange expression. He had heard of this body technique, which is the most advanced within the Bai Yun sect. There are very few who can successfully cultivate it. It is one of the few Xianpin martial arts of the Bai Yun sect. I didn't expect Wang Yangshu to give it directly to Bai Chuchen. It can be seen that the other party is indeed feeling guilty about Zhou Yun's dismissal of Bai Chuchen. White clouds without a trace, level. Xianpin, entry requirements. Traveling 100 miles, supplemented by the secret medicine for strengthening muscles and bones. A message suddenly appeared in Ling Feng's eyes. His eyes lit up, and he casually put the secret script back on the table. For cultivation, it's not urgent at the moment. You need to recuperate first before we talk. Go to the book garden www.zhaosuiyuan.com. Well, I know, in 10.5 days, I'll be almost fully recovered. I just wanted to get to know before that. Bai Chuchen nodded, also knowing the principle that haste makes waste. The next day. After practicing swordsmanship, Ling Feng recalled the story of White Cloud without a trace and curiously wanted to give it a try. Traveling 100 miles is not difficult, supplemented by the secret medicine of strengthening muscles and bones. With my innate cultivation, traveling 100 miles only takes half a day. But the secret medicine for strengthening muscles and bones, where should I go to find this thing? It is said that there is a type of martial artist who specializes in training muscles and bones, treating their body like a divine weapon and constantly refining it, known as a practitioner. And for those who practice physical fitness, the most important thing is to use the secret medicine to refine muscles and bones. However, within the Bai Yun sect, I haven't heard of anyone practicing physical fitness. Some pharmacies in the town below the mountain may have relevant medicines. After some thought, Ling Feng planned to go down the mountain. After descending the mountain, his true chi was in circulation, and he kicked his feet. Although he didn't use any body movements, his speed was still like an arrow leaving a string. After running around the mountain for a few laps, he felt like he had traveled several tens of miles before heading to the largest town near Baiyun sect. Qingzhou, Baiyun County, Yancheng. As one of the top towns in Baiyun County, Yancheng covers an extremely wide area and is located on a river shipping artery with several docks and continuous trade. The city is bustling, with shops lining both sides of the street. After Ling Feng entered the city, he caught the attention of many passers-by because he was dressed in white clothes with white cloud patterns on them. Because that is the clothing of the disciples of Baiyun sect. As one of the top martial arts sects in Baiyun County, Baiyun sect has a significant influence in Baiyun County, and its disciples are naturally highly regarded. Chapter 6. Expensive Secret Medicines. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ignoring the strange gazes of the pedestrians around him, Ling Feng arrived at a pharmacy in Yan City. The pharmacy clerk saw Ling Feng wearing the clothing of a disciple of the Baiyun sect and quickly approached with a flattering smile. "Young master, what do you want to buy? Do you have any secret medicine for refining muscles and bones here?" Ling Feng asked directly. "Quenching muscles and bones. Young master, are you referring to the secret medicine used for martial arts practice?" "Exactly. This young master is in a difficult situation. There is no such treasure in our small pharmacy. If you want it, perhaps you can go to Tianxin Hall to have a look. It is the largest pharmacy in Yancheng, and they may have it," said the waiter. "Well, thank you very much." Ling Feng expressed his gratitude but did not stay long. "I found a pedestrian on the road, asked for the address, and soon arrived at Tianxin Hall, which is truly the largest pharmacy in Yancheng. It is located in the center of Yancheng Street, with a bustling area and grand decoration." After entering, even a beautiful girl in a qipao greeted Ling Feng. "Young master, I wonder what you want to buy." "The secret medicine for refining muscles and bones. Used for exercising." "Exactly. Yes, there is a medicine in my Tianxin Hall called Tiger Bone Forging Muscle Powder, which is the most popular body training secret medicine in Yancheng. How much do you want, young master?" "Let's start with a post." "Okay, 20 taels of silver per piece." Ling Feng was slightly taken aback. 20 taels of silver. This is equivalent to the annual expenses of a family of 3. Ling Feng only brought 10 taels when he went down the mountain this time. He thought this secret medicine would be very expensive, but he didn't expect it to be so expensive. As if sensing Ling Feng's embarrassment, the girl in the qipao smiled slightly and said, "This medicine is indeed a bit expensive. Young master, you can consider it first." After speaking, she went to receive others first. Ling Feng saw that no one was paying attention to him, so he turned around and walked out of Tianxin Hall. Miscalculation, miscalculation. I didn't expect the body-quenching secret medicine to be so expensive. All my possessions over the past few years combined cannot buy a single one. We need to find a way to make money first, Ling Feng thought to himself, and then wandered around Yan City, hoping to find a way to make money quickly. Until the sun rises 3 poles. Ling Feng was hungry in his stomach, so he first went to a restaurant and ordered some food. A few people's voices came from beside. "Have you heard about Zhang Yuany's family in the south of the city? I've heard that when Zhang was out doing business, his mistress had an affair with a man and was discovered by Zhang when he returned. In a fit of anger, he killed both the mistress and the man. However, to his surprise, the man was actually the son of the leader of the Yancheng Black Tiger Gang, who was planning to settle accounts with Zhang. TSK, the Black Tiger Gang is one of the top gangs in Yancheng, and the leader of the Black Tiger Gang is a 5th-grade martial arts master. Zhang Yuanwei can't even compete with them. Zhang Yuanwei has posted notices. Whoever can help him get through this calamity and be willing to give him 1,000 taels of silver depends on who has the ability to take this money. The Black Tiger Gang is not easy to provoke. The sound of discussion reached Ling Feng's ears, and his eyes lit up. Isn't this just someone giving pillows when you're dozing off? After finishing lunch, he immediately got up and rushed to the residence outside of Zhang in the south of the city. He knocked on the door of the Zhang family, and an old servant immediately went out to greet him. I'm here to help Mr. Zhang with his urgent needs. Ling Feng gave a faint smile. And when the old servant saw the clothing of the Baiyun sect disciples on his body, he suddenly realized and said, You must be Li Gongzi and his disciples, come in quickly. The old servant quickly welcomed Ling Feng into the Zhang family and arrived at the lobby, where 3 people had already gathered together and were drinking tea. One of them was dressed in luxurious attire and wore a green hat on his head. I think it's Mr. Zhang. And the other 2, like Ling Feng, were dressed in the clothing of Baiyun sect disciples, 1 male and 1 female, with a long sword in hand. Ling Feng felt lost when he saw the 2 of them. There are thousands of disciples of Baiyun sect. He doesn't know everyone, he doesn't know the 2 people in front of him. But these 2 people clearly recognized Ling Feng. It's you, Ling Feng. The female disciple was somewhat surprised. The male disciple couldn't help but show a hint of playfulness. Ling Feng, why did you come here? Is it also for that 1,000 taels of silver? Also. It seems that these 2 people have the same goal as themselves. Li Gongzi, Miss Wang, is this person from the same family as 2 others? At this moment, Mr. Zhang, dressed in luxurious clothes, asked curiously. Miss Wang nodded slightly, but young Master Li couldn't help but sneer. I disdain to be from the same family as him. How can a useless waste material who only knows how to wield swords all day be worthy of being from the same family as me? To take a step back, I am an inner disciple, but he is not an outer disciple, and he is also the worst group of people in the outer disciple. Young Master Li said lightly, his face full of contempt. Ling Feng glanced at him and didn't say much. On the other hand, Miss Wang stood up to smooth the situation and said, All right, senior brotherly, don't say anything more. Since Ling Feng has come, he must be in urgent need of silver. Why don't we let him fight against the Black Tiger gang with us and give him a share afterwards? What can a disabled student help us? Why should we share the money with him? Mr. Li pursed his lips. Then take some from my portion and give it to him. After finishing speaking, Miss Wang smiled at Ling Feng and said, Ling Feng Jr. brother, I have heard of your deeds in the sect. No matter how cold or hot you are fearless of wind and rain, practicing swordsmanship day and night. This kind of mentality is admirable. Senior sister, you're welcome. Ah, what if you have perseverance? It's not that you can't develop a reason yet. Li Gongzi was mocking on the side again. Ling Feng furrowed his brows and approached Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com coldly, saying, If you keep speaking impolitely, do you really think that bullying someone is easy for me? Oh, why do you still want to take action? Enough, senior brotherly. Miss Wang couldn't help but feel a little unhappy. Don't make any noise, everyone. I have already asked my servants to prepare the food and drinks. You have come from a long distance, why don't you have your meal first, said Zhang, the assistant on the side. That's okay, Li Gongzi nodded and ignored Ling Feng. Ling Feng, don't mind. By the way, I don't know what you want to do with this 1,000 taels of silver when you come to help Mr. Zhang. Miss Wang asked curiously. Buy medicine. Buying medicine. Is it for senior brother Bai? Miss Wang thought of something with a gloomy expression in her eyes. I wonder how senior brother Bai has recovered. Looking at the other person's appearance, Ling Feng suddenly realized. Bai Chuchen is a core disciple of the Baiyun sect, with strong strength, good talent, and a high spirit, which naturally attracts the admiration of many junior sisters. This Miss Wang must also be one of them. The reason why the other party treats her differently is probably for the sake of Bai Chuchen. He recovered quite well in the early morning. That's good. Miss Wang breathed a sigh of relief. Then I had a casual conversation with Ling Feng. Miss Wang's name is Wang Li, a disciple of the Baiyun sect, with a 5th grade cultivation. She came down the mountain at the invitation of Li Hua, the young master Li, to fight against the Black Tiger Gang and earn this 1,000 taels of silver. With this money, the two can exchange for some better cultivation resources. Is senior sister confident? The leader of the Black Tiger Gang is only a 5th grade martial artist, and both senior brother Li and I are also 5th grade martial artists. It shouldn't be a problem to deal with him with 2 strikes and 1. Wang Li smiled faintly. Chapter 7. What place is worth my first glance at? You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the dining table. Zhang Yuanwei has been toasting Li Hua, treating him like a savior, but in fact, he can only rely on him now. As for Wang Li and Ling Feng on the side, he neglected them a lot. Wang Li is a woman, although also a 5th grade warrior. In the subconscious of Zhang Yuanwei, she is not comparable to Li Hua, who is a man. As for Ling Feng, he had already learned from Li Hua that he was just an outsider disciple. How can it be compared to an insider like Li Hua? When a few people are eating. Suddenly, a loud noise came from outside the door. Immediately after, the gate of Zhang's mansion was violently opened by someone, and several servants who were supposed to go to open the door were suppressed by the door panels, screaming in agony, which was very tragic. A few big men walked outside the door, stepping on the door panels and entering Zhang's mansion. One of the thin and frail men, noticing the pressure on the door panel, grinned and stomped on it several times. Zhang Yuanwei looked at the few people with a pale expression and said, "Yes, it's from the Black Tiger Gang, and besides, all 3 leaders of the Black Tiger Gang have come." Within the Black Tiger Gang, there are 3 tigers who dominate Yen City. Grab territory, dominate shops, open gambling houses, collect protection fees. Those 3 tigers are responsible for committing crimes in Yen City. Among them, the who surnamed Wang wears black clothes all year round and is known as Wang Heihu. Hu, surnamed Tai, has practiced martial arts all over his body, with boundless strength. It is said that his skin is as impenetrable as iron, and he is known as the Iron Tiger. As for the 3 tigers, they are cunning, poisonous, and have flexible body methods. Compared to the other 2, their bodies are much thinner and weaker, so they are called the Thin Tiger. Now, all 3 tigers have arrived at Zhang Yuanwei's house, especially Wang Heihu, the leader. When he saw Zhang Yuanwei, his tiger eyes immediately turned crimson and he roared angrily, "My surname is Zhang, today I want you to pay for my son's life." Upon hearing this roar, Zhang Yuanwei felt as if he was really a fierce tiger descending from the mountain, with an imposing momentum. He couldn't help but take 2 steps back in fear. But as soon as I thought about the disciples of the Baiyun sect supporting me, I couldn't help but feel some confidence in my heart. "Wang Heihu, your son has an affair with my concubine, which is immoral. If I don't kill him, will I still be a man? He deserves more than he deserves." Okay. My son deserves more than he deserves. With this one sentence from you, I want everyone in the Zhang family to be buried together. Wang Heihu said hello 3 times in a row, and suddenly a large number of gang members holding swords rushed in from behind, almost surrounding the entire Zhang family. Humph, what a king Heihu. He's about to destroy people all over his door. Do you still have any magic in your eyes? Li Hua snorted coldly and slowly walked out from behind Zhang Yuanwei. Seeing his attire, Wang Heihu's gaze froze and he said, "So I found someone from Baiyun's sect to support me. No wonder I dare to be so tough. Not bad, Wang Heihu. I'll take care of Mr. Zhang. If your Black Tiger Gang is interested, you can withdraw and not pursue further charges." Humph, how can I not avenge my son's murder? Even if I were a disciple of Baiyun's sect, what could I do? There are thousands of disciples of Baiyun's sect. As long as they are not core disciples, if I kill 1 or 2, how will they discover? Wang Heihu has made up his mind to seek revenge for his son. He forcefully pulled out a one-handed knife from his waist, took a step forward, and charged towards Li Huo like an arrow departing from the string. It was better to take the first move. With a single strike, the force is as strong and heavy as the force of the Hua mountain. Li Huo's long sword from his waist was also unsheathed, clanging as he felt a huge force coming from the blade, causing his arms to tingle. What a domineering power! You're not 5th grade, you're 4th grade. Li Huo's face slightly changed. Humph, you guessed wrong. Wang Heihu's arm muscles with a knife suddenly wriggled, his veins bulging, and he swung the knife again, gaining even more momentum. The sword in Li Huo's hand was trembling with a buzzing sound, and his body stumbled back several steps. Looking back, the sword in his hand had already been split into several notches. The largest gap almost cut the entire sword in half. 3rd grade. Li Huo's pupils shrank, creating a particularly terrifying sensation. The other party, surprisingly, is not the rumored 5th grade, but the 3rd grade. This kind of strength is enough to unify all the major gangs in Yen City. This Wang Heihu has been hiding his foolishness all along. Is it unexpected? A year ago, I had already advanced to the 3rd rank. In the entire Yen City, there were not many people who were my opponents. Even if it was the Baiyun sect, as long as it was not a core disciple or an elder-level figure, I would not take it seriously. A hint of pride appeared on Wang Heihu's face. Zhang Yuany's figure softened and he collapsed directly to the ground, his face full of despair. Wang Heihu, you're hiding so deep. Oh, today the Zhang family, even if it's a dog, don't even think of leaving. Faced with the arrogant Wang Heihu, Li Huo was no match at all. After a few changes in his face, he said, "We won't get involved in this matter. Wang Heihu, killing a disciple of the Baiyun sect won't benefit you. Let's go." Dream. Let you go, who knows if you will go back and notify the elders of the sect, come back and seek revenge on me. Zhang Yuanwei will die, and you will die even more. You. Li Huo was speechless and couldn't help feeling a bit desperate in his heart. Wang Li clenched her sword and said, "Senior brother Li, we joined forces to fight against him. He is a 3rd-level martial artist, which can only be achieved by core disciples. What should we compete with him for? Moreover, there are 2 leaders of the Black Tiger gang around him who have not taken action. Even if their strength is the same as rumored, they are only 6th level. If we fight with Wang Heihu, we will definitely die." Li Huo smiled bitterly, his eyes hopeless. He deeply regrets getting involved in this matter now. And on the side, Zhang Yuanwei also looked like the sky was about to collapse. 2,000 taels of silver. At this moment, Ling Feng, who had been silently behind everyone, spoke calmly. Upon hearing his voice, everyone couldn't help but look away. I saw him looking at Zhang Yuanwei on the ground and calmly saying, "Zhang Yuanwei, give me 2,000 taels of silver, and I will help you deal with and solve these people." Find Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone was in an uproar. Wang Heihu furrowed his brows and looked at Ling Feng, unable to discern the depth of the other person. However, Zhang Yuanwei paused for a moment and then smiled bitterly, saying, "Ling Gongzi, it's already this time. Are you still joking? Your senior brothers and sisters have nothing to do. You're just an outsider disciple, what can you do? External disciples." Upon hearing these 4 words, Wang Heihu sneered and said, "Okay, can even the outer disciples of Baiyun sect underestimate me now? You don't feel ashamed if you don't have strict family discipline, don't have a good family tradition, and don't discipline your son well to have an affair with a married woman. You also want to exterminate everyone in your family. Is there anything worth giving me a good look at?" Ling Feng looked at Wang Heihu and said calmly. The gang members behind Wang Heihu couldn't help but marvel at the situation, but looking at Ling Feng's eyes, it was as if he was looking at a dead person. This kid is doomed. And it's still hard to die. After scolding Wang Heihu, Ling Feng looked at Yuan Zhang and said calmly, now give me an answer, 2,000 taels, will you give it or not? The originally agreed upon amount was 1,000 taels. But Zhang Yuanwei just neglected him, he doesn't mind sitting on the ground and starting the price. Moreover, Zhang's request was only to repel Wang Heihu and a few others. But he will do even better. Oh, if you can really save my Zhang family from danger, I will offer these 2,000 taels with both hands. Zhang Yuanwei let out a bitter smile. Although I don't hold any hope, I can only be a dead horse and a living horse doctor at this moment. Ha ha ha, kid, alright, you said there's something worth looking up at me. I'll tell you now, with this knife in my hand. Wang Heihu laughed in anger and swung his knife towards Ling Feng's head. Chapter 8. Slaying 3 Tigers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wang Heihu's knife sank with great force to the extreme. Without any mercy. Faced with the sudden blow, Ling Feng stood still and casually extended 2 fingers, actually gripping it. The knife trembled at his fingertips. People, their pupils shrink in front of him, I can't believe it. Li Hua and Wang Li on the side were also extremely shocked. Isn't it said that the other party is a waste material? Can a scrap material easily hold a third-grade warrior's knife? Are you joking? Master. Help me, big brother. The thin tiger behind Wang Heihu and the iron tiger saw the situation, looked at each other, and rushed out together. The thin tiger held a dagger and attacked the left, while the iron tiger punched the right. After being shocked, Wang Heihu also let out a low shout and pushed his long sword towards Ling Feng with all his might. Step back. Ling Feng drank indifferently, and at the moment when his innate true qi burst out, there seemed to be a torrent flowing out of his body, shaking away the thin and iron tigers attacking from both sides. Immediately after, he released Wang Heihu's sword and turned to grip the long sword at his waist. The sword was unsheathed, and his figure moved in an instant. The white sword light flashed through the void. He did not display such exquisite and unparalleled swordsmanship. Just like waving a sword day after day on a mountain peak. But this sword vividly interprets fast, accurate, and ruthless. Wang Heihu didn't even know how to resist, and the white sword light had already enveloped his vision. Then his neck cooled, and there seemed to be a splashing sound of water in his ears. Something inside his body sprayed out from his neck. That's his blood. Without even a word to say, Wang Heihu fell to the ground with a loud bang. Caught in the throat with a single sword. Looking at Iron Tiger again, the 2 skinny tigers trembled as they saw their eldest brother, a third-grade warrior, die in agony. Their faces turned pale in fear, devoid of any fighting spirit. Without saying a word, the skinny tiger turned around and ran, using its body movements to the extreme. Ling Feng currently does not have any body movements, but his realm is much higher than that of everyone present. His innate true qi explodes on him, as if adding a powerful booster to his body, instantly increasing his speed to near the speed of sound. In the blink of an eye, he caught up with the skinny tiger and cut off their head with a sword. I'm fighting with you. Iron Tiger knew that even the thinnest tiger with the fastest body method speed would be easily killed, and he had only a dead end to escape. In despair, he decided to fight hard. I saw his originally robust body suddenly expand in a circle, his clothes being torn apart by bulging muscles, and what was exposed to the air was the terrifying body with bulging veins and blood vessels, and crazy bulging muscles. Sacrifice mystery. Ling Feng's eyes lit up. He has read many books in the library of Baiyun sect these days, including some records about practitioners of physical martial arts. It is written above that the practitioner has a secret technique called sacrifice, which can stimulate the body's potential to enhance combat power. But sacrificing oneself, this secret technique comes at the cost of sacrificing one's body. Once used, it can result in a deficiency of qi and blood, severe damage to vital energy, and severe exhaustion of qi and blood, resulting in immediate death. Therefore, it is not possible to use it unless absolutely necessary. Iron Cannon Fist. Iron Tiger's eyes were red, his waist and horse were in harmony, his 5 fingers clenched tightly, and he punched Ling Feng with a punch that was as fierce as a shell. A terrifying aura roared out. Li Hua and Wang Li were watching from the side with palpitations. If they come to face this punch, they will definitely die. But Ling Feng just casually extended a palm, as gentle as a lover brushing her face. However, when Iron Tiger's heavy punch landed on his palm, it seemed as if he had lost all his strength and was easily grasped by him, unable to move forward. In the next moment, his palm lightly tapped on Iron Tiger's arm. The muscle bulged up, like an iron arm, and the hand was instantly shattered to the bone, towering like a rag on Iron Tiger's shoulder. Then Ling Feng's palm also landed on the other person's head. Bang! Iron Tiger's eyes instantly lost their radiance and collapsed to the ground with a loud bang. His head appeared to have no scars, but in no time, a large amount of blood flowed out of his ears, nostrils, and even eyes. Ling Feng's gentle palm completely shattered his brain. The remaining members of the Black Tiger gang were already frightened to the death of the 3 leaders, as if birds and beasts had dispersed. Ling Feng was too lazy to pursue these minions. He looked at Mr. Zhang and said calmly, 2,000 taels, I need them now. Okay, I'll go get it right away. Mr. Zhang swallowed his saliva and quickly went to retrieve the money. And Wang Li and Li Hua looked at Ling Feng, their eyes gradually showing awe. Especially Li Hua. How disdainful he was to Ling Feng just now, and how frightened he is now, he hurriedly said. Ling, senior brother Ling, oh no, senior brother, I was blind and offended you just now, please don't remember the villains. I should call. Li Hua slapped himself twice and flattered him to the extreme. But Ling Feng still treated him as heir and ignored him. Wang Li gave Ling Feng a complicated glance and said, I didn't expect that you, whom the entire Baiyun sect looks down upon, are actually hidden and undisclosed. I didn't deliberately hide it, it's just that you ignored it yourself. Ling Feng said lightly. From beginning to end, he never thought of hiding anything. Even if it's innate, it's the same. It's just that everyone has always regarded him as the useless person who only knows how to wield a sword on the mountaintop. Quickly, Zhang Yuanwei walked over with 2,000 taels of silver bills and respectfully said, Young Master Ling, this is a silver bill from Datong Bank. It can be exchanged for cash at any Datong Bank in the Zhou dynasty. Please keep it. Ling Feng knew that Counselor Zhang dared not play any tricks. He took the silver ticket and said goodbye to Wang Li, Senior Sister Wang, we will see each other later. Senior Brother Ling, take your time. If you have any instructions in the future, feel free to contact me at the Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. Li Hua flattered on the side. Unfortunately, it was still overlooked by Ling Feng. After Ling Feng left, he finally restrained his flattery and sat limp on the ground, with a relaxed expression on his face as if he had survived the disaster. Fortunately, he didn't care about what happened before me. Otherwise, even if I had 10 lives, it wouldn't be enough for him to kill me. Slaying Wang Heihu with one sword, easily defeating Thin Tiger and Iron Tiger, his strength is definitely far above the 3rd grade. He may even be the 1st grade like the sect leader. Oh my goodness, at what age does he have such cultivation? We've all looked around. Bai Chuchen is not the most outstanding genius of Baiyun sect, Ling Feng is. And over the years, he hasn't shown any signs of it, which shows that he has been deliberately hiding himself. The depth of the city is terrifying, and I'm afraid he won't be able to speak up after returning this time, otherwise he will come knocking on me and I will die. Li Hua murmured. Tianqin Hall. Ling Feng arrived again, and the girl in the qipao who received him was the same as before. But this time, Ling Feng's wealth is different from before. Within half a day, there were earth-shattering changes. I want tiger bone and blood strengthening powder. First, give me 3 portions. Ling Feng said calmly, take 2 more portions, be prepared. Anyway, he's not short of money now. The girl in the qipao was a bit surprised. She didn't expect the other party to gather the money so quickly to buy the body-quenching secret medicine, and quickly packed the medicine for Ling Feng. Taking the medicine and paying the money, Ling Feng quickly returned to the Baiyun sect. He couldn't wait to try to satisfy the hidden conditions of the Baiyun Wuqiangbu, and see if he could truly master this mysterious martial art. Chapter 9. White Clouds Without a Trace Step Toward Success. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Return to the residence of Baiyun sect. Ling Feng took out a medicine pot, boiled the tiger bone blood strengthening powder into 1 bowl of water with 3 bowls of water, and then drank it all in 1 gulp. I have completed both conditions of traveling 100 miles a day and taking the secret medicine. Now it's up to me to see if I can master the white cloud without a trace step. Ling Feng murmured softly. The next second, a mysterious message emerged in his mind, with small people taking mysterious steps in his mind. And he also followed suit. The figure constantly changes in the courtyard, like clouds in the sky, elusive and without a trace. In no time, his figure stood still, with a hint of joy between his eyebrows. I actually succeeded in mastering it. Take a look at the personal properties panel again. Ling Feng, cultivation. Congenital, martial arts. Phantom Asking Immortal Sword Technique, beginner level. The next step for success requires meeting the following conditions. Concentrate, focus on the sword, wield the sword millions of times. White cloud without a trace step, beginner level. The next step for success requires meeting the following conditions. Traveling 300 miles a day, supplemented by 10 secret medicines for strengthening muscles and bones. Well, it seems that I still bought fewer of the 3 posts. He is not in a hurry. Anyway, I still have over 1,000 taels of silver on me. It's not difficult to buy a few more tiger bone and blood strengthening powder. The next day. He then went down the mountain and ran dozens of laps in the mountains near the Baiyun sect. With his innate cultivation and the latest mastery of the Baiyun trackless step, the distance of 300 miles was less than half a day. Then he went to Yanqing to buy a large amount of tiger bone and blood strengthening powder. This time, he bought 50 copies in 1 go. 2,000 taels of silver, spent a large part of it. The girl selling medicine was so shocked that her chin almost fell to the ground. The shopkeeper of Tianxin Hall even appeared in person to receive Ling Feng. Returning to Baiyun Mountain, he processed it the same way and decocted 10 patches of medicine, taking them 1 by 1. The white clouds walked without a trace, instantly entering the realm of Xiaocheng. This body technique is a mysterious skill that ordinary martial artists cannot achieve in just a few years of practice, from beginner to novice. But I only took a few pills and ran dozens of laps outside the mountain to achieve it, which only took me 2 days. Ling Feng's eyes lit up, feeling that his golden finger was indeed powerful. You don't have to work hard like other martial artists to cultivate. You only need to complete the hidden conditions of martial arts to ascend to the sky in 1 step. However, these hidden conditions are not easily achievable for some people, such as traveling hundreds of miles on that day. An ordinary person can travel hundreds of miles a day, and their feet cannot walk anymore. And those 10 tiger bone blood strengthening powder, 200 taels of silver, most people can't take it out either. Thinking of this, Ling Feng was very grateful for his tireless practice of the ethereal Asking Immortal Sword Technique in the past few years, achieving innate cultivation. Otherwise, I won't be able to complete the cultivation of the white cloud without a trace step myself. White cloud without a trace step, Xiaocheng. The next step to achieve great success requires meeting the following conditions. Traveling 500 miles a day, supplemented by 40 secret medicines for strengthening muscles and bones. Ling Feng took a look at the conditions needed for the next step, and then looked at the remaining secret medicine in his hand, which happened to have 40 more. So the next day, after practicing swordsmanship, he went out to run circles. After running 500 miles, it's already evening. Even though he has innate cultivation, he still has some asthma. After returning, he decocted all 40 herbs, and the strong scent of herbs filled the room, causing Ling Feng to feel a bit uncomfortable. So many bowls of medicine, take it in one breath. Ordinary people are afraid that their qi and blood will burst and they will die. As a congenital Ling Feng, he also felt a bit scared. He decided to stop immediately if there was any discomfort during the medication process. He didn't think there was any problem with 40 bowls in a row. It's like drinking 40 bowls of water. No. Even after drinking 40 bowls of water, there should be some feeling. But he didn't react at all. The 40 bowls of medicine seemed to disappear without a trace as soon as they entered his body. I understand. If we consider the martial arts realm as a commodity, then the conditions for meeting the corresponding martial arts realm are gold and silver. These gold and silver have been used by me and replaced with corresponding martial arts levels. Apart from that, they will not have any other impact on me. Ling Feng suddenly realized, and after he finished drinking 40 bowls of medicine, De Cheng's white clouds disappeared without a trace and were naturally controlled by him. White clouds without a trace. Step, De Cheng, the next peak step needs to meet the following conditions. Travel 3,000 miles, supplemented by medium-grade body training. Secret medicine, traveling 3,000 miles, there is no time limit. In other words, I don't need to complete it in a day, while the secret medicine for practicing the body has been replaced with a medium-grade one. I don't know if Jianxin Hall sells it. Whether it's a secret medicine for practicing physical fitness or other cultivation pills, they are just like martial arts, with grades, divided into 6 levels. Middle, upper, mysterious, earthly, and heavenly. Jianxin Hall is the largest pharmacy in Yancheng, and although tiger bone blood strengthening powder is its signature, it is only a low-grade secret medicine. After some thought, Ling Feng was not in a hurry to practice the white cloud without a trace. Step. Glancing at the sky. It's still early. Ling Feng planned to visit by Chuchen, but on the way, some disciples were still pointing at him from behind. Especially after Bai Chuchen was abolished, some people became even more reckless. It seems that the news of my achievement in the innate realm has not yet spread. After Wang Li and Li Hua returned, they did not publicize this matter. Are you worried about being retaliated by me? Ling Feng thought to himself, but upon closer examination, he knew that his innate realm had only recently been achieved. But Wang Li and Li Hua don't know. In their eyes, they have been hiding their cultivation and don't want others to know. If they spread it everywhere, they will offend themselves. Ling Feng didn't care about these either. When he arrived at Bai Chuchen's residence, he saw him in the yard, holding a book in his hand. Watching while taking strange steps. Ling Feng could tell at a glance that the other party was trying to cultivate the white cloud without a trace. Step. Often, you're here. Bai Chuchen put down his book and smiled as he welcomed Ling Feng into the yard. The two of them were chatting as usual. Zhaoshuyuan.com, by the way, I heard that Lin Yi and Wang Zhuang have died, and their bodies were found under the cliff. Do you know what happened? Oh, I know. Let's hear it, Bai Chuchen immediately asked curiously. I killed it. Ling Feng said calmly. Bai Chuchen was stunned for a moment, then smiled and said, Feng, when have you learned to joke too? They are both disciples of the inner sect. He didn't take Ling Feng's words seriously, he just thought the other person was joking. Alright, not to mention these two guys, I happen to be practicing the white cloud without a trace step. Often, please accompany me to practice it. Bai Chuchen got up and pulled Ling Feng aside to start practicing. He walked around Ling Feng, stepping on his steps, constantly circling. You stepped on the wrong step. Ling Feng suddenly reminded. Ha! Often, do you know how to practice? Oh, by the way, you've been coming to me all along, and I'll show you this book too. Bai Chuchen suddenly realized and said, Feng, you can do whatever you want with me, but outside, unless absolutely necessary, don't let anyone know that you will leave without a trace. I can't protect you now. He sighed and a hint of sadness flashed in his eyes. It can be seen that the blow of the broken tendon has not fully recovered. Ling Feng patted his shoulder and said, Don't worry, I'll protect you now. Okay, let's continue practicing. Bai Chuchen regained his fighting spirit and continued to practice his pace. Ling Feng's occasional reminders on the side made him progress extremely quickly. After half an hour, Bai Chuchen was extremely surprised. Ah Feng, I can't tell that you're still a martial arts genius. You've mastered the white cloud trackless step so quickly. Chapter 10. The Idea of Accumulating Wealth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bai Chuchen really feels that Ling Feng has wasted over 2 years of time. He felt that the other party should start practicing martial arts from the beginning. Perhaps his current achievements are already ahead of him. Often, I think your intelligence doesn't matter even if your aptitude is slightly inferior. If you start practicing martial arts now, there's still time. Bai Chuchen quickly said. Ling Feng smiled slightly. He had been practicing martial arts all along, but his way of cultivation was different from others. Well, I know. You've been practicing for 2 hours today and your body has just recovered. Don't be too tired. Ling Feng asked Bai Chuchen to go and rest first. He glanced at the sky and saw that the sunset was already dusk. Gulu. At this moment, Bai Chuchen's stomach started to scream and he scratched his head, I'm a bit hungry. Instead of resting, let's go eat first. It's also good. The two of them went down the mountain to the cafeteria for a meal. On the road, there were many people watching Bai Chuchen. Some are pitiful, some are playful, some are gloating, pointing and pointing. Bai Chuchen seemed to have already adapted to this gaze and ignored it. A few days later, Ling Feng once again descended the mountain and arrived at the Tianqin Hall in Yancheng. The girl in the qipao saw him before, and her eyes lit up, just like seeing the god of wealth. She quickly welcomed him. Young master, do you want to buy any secret medicine again? Ling Feng nodded slightly and said, do you have a mid-range secret medicine for body training? Middle-grade body training secret medicine. So, young master, you've come to the right place. In Yen City, only my Tianqin Hall can possibly obtain this kind of secret medicine. However, this kind of secret medicine is slightly more expensive, requiring 100 taels per post. Well, let's start with 2 posts. Okay, please wait a moment. The girl in the qipao quickly prepared the secret medicine for Ling Feng. Young master, this is the top-grade body training secret medicine of our Tianqin Hall, named Blazing Heart. When you swallow this medicine, you will feel a burning sensation in your chest, which is a normal phenomenon. As long as you refine the medicinal power, you can do it. Got it. Ling Feng left the silver ticket and then left. He was walking on the street with medicine in his hand. Although he had just given the silver bill so happily, he was actually very shy and couldn't even afford a meal for lunch. Practicing martial arts is indeed very expensive. Ling Feng has started to think of ways to make money again. I need to find a way to continuously provide me with silver. Ling Feng thought and passed by a gambling house. Then another big man was thrown out, and the other person fell to the ground covered in blood, seemingly on the brink of death. Starting from today, this gambling house will be owned by our Qinglong Club. Your Black Tiger gang has lost those 3 tigers, leaving only 1 Tyrannosaurus Rex flower. It's already sunset in Xishan, and Yen City is no longer your world. The person who threw the big man out said proudly. Surrounded by some onlookers, no one dared to go up and help rescue the severely beaten man. This is the leader of the Black Tiger gang and also the owner of this gambling house. How did he end up like this? TSK, don't you know yet? The leader of the Black Tiger gang and his 2 brothers have been slaughtered, and the current Black Tiger gang is not as good as before. Yeah, the Qinglong Club used to be pinned down by the Black Tiger gang. Now that they have seized this opportunity, they have started to annex the Black Tiger gang's territory on a large scale. And this gambling house is gaining money every day, how could they miss it? Everyone was discussing, and Ling Feng was lost in thought. He crouched down and glanced at the dying man, asking, I can save you. How about you take me to the headquarters of the Black Tiger gang? The big man reluctantly opened his eyes and glanced at Ling Feng, then seemed to see something terrifying. His eyes widened, filled with fear. Then he tilted his head and was scared to death. Ling Feng was taken aback and touched his face, feeling a little speechless. Do I look so scary? He knew that this big man might have been a member of the Zhang family that day, and knew that he had killed Wang Heihu and a few others. Now he was beaten to the brink of death, and suddenly saw himself, frightened too much. He couldn't help but die. Forget it, go find it yourself. This Black Tiger gang is also well known in Yancheng, so finding a headquarters should not be a waste. Ling Feng stood up and walked towards the passers-by next to him, wanting to ask. But these people saw him squatting down and saying something to the big man, and then the big man died. They thought he had done something and were so scared that they dared not speak to him. As soon as he approached, they all retreated. Ling Feng's mouth twitched and he had no choice but to leave first. After walking a certain distance, he stopped a pedestrian to inquire. After obtaining the address, he soon arrived at the door of a large mansion, where several guards were still standing. What kind of person dare to trespass here too? I want to meet the current leader of your Black Tiger gang and tell him that I have a way to help them overcome the crisis. You. The guard raised his eyebrows and looked at Ling Feng. No matter how he looked, he couldn't see anything special about him. But for safety reasons, I went in and reported the situation. In no time, the guard came out and let Ling Feng enter. Black Tiger Gang, Commander-in-Chief, in the lobby. A woman in red and several existing masters of the Black Tiger Gang are discussing how to deal with the attack of the Green Dragon Society. But on everyone's face, they were all disheartened. Losing 3 tigers, the Black Tiger Gang's current combat power is not as strong as before, while the president of the Green Dragon Association has reached level 4 in strength and still has 5 or 6 level 5 under his command. The red-clad woman with the highest combat power in the Black Tiger Gang has just reached the 4th grade on the Shuyuan website www.zhaoshuyuan.com, while the other hall masters combined have none of the 5th grade. The gap is too big. It's all the fault of that disciple of the Baiyun sect. If it weren't for him killing the sect leader, our Black Tiger sect wouldn't have fallen to this level. A hall master with a scar on his face was so angry that he patted the table. The woman in red frowned and said, "What's the use of saying this now? Let's work together and get through the difficulties first." How can we work together? Don't think I don't know. The Qinglong Association has sent someone to find you and wants you to join them. The Scar Hall Master snorted coldly. They approached me, but I didn't agree, otherwise you wouldn't have seen me here, said the woman in red calmly. Although that's the case, the Green Dragon will value you. When it's really irreparable, can you still join the Green Dragon Society with your Ba Wang Hua? We estimate there's only one dead end. Instead of that, it's better to pack your things and run away separately. The scarred man said. As soon as this statement was made, everyone else started talking nonsense. I agree. Agree, my Black Tiger Gang has worked hard to this day, relying not only on Wang Black Tiger and his team, but also on our efforts. Now we have to give up everything and run away in embarrassment. That's why I won't do it. Not bad, it's a big deal to fight. Of course, Yu Zhang Lauer, who is alone, can work hard, but we have old and young people up and down. How can you work hard? Just as everyone was arguing uncontrollably, a footstep sounded outside the door. Everyone looked around and saw a man in white slowly walking into the lobby. When the Scar Hall owner saw him, his body trembled with fear and he collapsed in a chair, his eyes filled with fear. Yes, it's you.